Okay, so we were setting up text blocking, and now I've got a bunch of options. So I have that option, which is what I call the soft blocking option. And before I say whether I'm going to use this or not, I'm going to play with it. I'm going to say Command T. I'm going to use warp. And just like I can improve my spot illustration sketches by kind of stretching and playing, I can improve my text blocking. Right. Pull it a little there. Yeah. So I think this is serviceable. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So this could be one approach for sure. And I'll have you guys vote on it. So we'll call this option 1. Okay, then there's this one. And this one's close. But the E is really tough. So I'm going to transform this. And instead of using warp, because this is harder edged, I'm going to use distort instead, which will keep things a little bit more angular. And you just want to avoid any boring negative space. Right? So this horse is on fire. Okay, I think that's pretty clear. So that's option 2. And then I got this one from my horizontal one, my horizontal layout of this horse. And then what am I going to combine that with? I think the is on fire from this one. So let me grab these components, duplicate them, Command J. And then I can edit, right? Take that out. Oops. Why did that not do anything? There we go. And then play with this. Just going to warp it in this upper corner just to line this up a little bit better. And then I'm going to take this one, and because it's more angular, I'm going to use distort instead of warp. I'm just going to kind of straighten it out. Okay, so I think I've got my options. So I'm going to have you guys vote, because like anything, type design takes time and effort, right? So you should be engaged with what you're doing. So I'm going to have option 1, option 2, and option 3. So show of hands, I'll show all 3 of them to you, and then I'll do show of hands for each one, right? Only vote once, please. This is option 1. Very kind of psychedelic postery. Plays up the rainbow. This is option 2. Very kind of hard-edged, plays up the skull, right? This is option 3, which is kind of a slightly softer hard-edged, maybe a little bit more readable. Okay, so let's go through. Option 1, option 2, option 3. Now, of course, they're going to get improved as we turn any of them into vectors, right? But this gives you your approach. You should feel confident in your text blocking approach. So, hands for option 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Strong showing for option 1. Hands for option 2. 2, 3. You can only vote once. Remember. And for option 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now option 2 is off the table. And because we have a tie between this option and this option, please everyone vote once. Okay. I'm going to start in reverse order. I'm going to call this now option 1. Option 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Everyone please vote. Even though it's arbitrary, they both work. Option 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, which one do I like better? I think this one is a little less typical. So I think I'm going to play with this one. All right. And it's still, the horse has some issues to it, but it will work. It will work. Okay, so once you have it, I like to save my text blocking, right? Just like the Stranger Things example. I always like to show how these things are used professionally. It's nice to keep your process options, right? Because what if this just goes really wrong and I'm doing it for a client? It's nice to then remember, oh, I had different approaches that I could go about. Okay, so now I'm going to save this, right? I think I'm going to save it to the desktop. It's going to go into an assignment 6 folder. I think all of those options on the vertical format are stronger than the ones I came up with in the horizontal, so I don't need to worry about the horizontal anymore. And now I'm going to save it as just a JPEG. And these are files that I call test files because they're transitional. They don't want to ever be confused with a finished file, so I put test in front of them. And I save them as a JPEG, as a copy, just to the desktop. And now I close Photoshop. I'm done with Photoshop for now. But I'm going to go back to that full resolution, 16 by 2350, when I have my vector type. And now I open up Illustrator. And now it's this step, to outline the actual letters as vectors and to finalize them so that I can do my first requirement, which is the black type design as a vector. Whether I'm hand drawing it or whether I'm modifying from existing typefaces, whether it's solid or whether it's outlined, all of those are options. So I find that JPEG. This is a test file. I usually mark those gray. My PSD I'm going to mark green. And now everything is in there. So I can go to my master folder and I can open up assignment 6 and I can drop these in there. And I think the solution I came up with is similar to the ones I showed on the whiteboard, but a little bit better, a little bit more informed by the actual shape of the illustration, right? So now with this JPEG, this test file, I'm going to open this with Adobe Illustrator. And it comes in as an image. I am not going to image trace it, right? And it will automatically kind of fill an artboard that's already that size. So now what do? I onion skin it. I double click and I say dim images to 50%, and then I lock it. And I'm going to create a new layer group on top that's going to have red anchor points. And just like if I was making my graphic symbol that we did for assignment 4, I can start doing the type, right? So I'll just remind you of that really quickly. Because my type is angular, I would probably use the pen tool for it. I would fill it with black. And I would just plot the points and just make sure I went all the way around. Until they close, right? And if I want it to feel kind of hand done and kind of clumsier, I can. I'll just show you this with this approach. Just because it's very straight and kind of hard edge doesn't mean it has to be super clean. Make sure you go all the way around though. Then I'll show you ways this can be easily cleaned up in Illustrator. I'm doing this all with just straight vectors. I'm not doing any curves, but I'll show you the way to make the curves as you go when I get to this S. Or I can do all straights for the S. I'll do all straights on the back, but then I'll show you the curves here. So the way you would do it is you would click on the anchor point and then click on the anchor point you just made to drag it out and get a curve next, right? And then I can click on the anchor point I just made to turn it back into a straight. And then I can click on the anchor point I just made to turn that, click and drag to turn it into a curve. So that's how you can get curves like as you go. But when you finish it, then you have to modify it, right? With the small selection tool if there's anything you don't want. So I don't really want that curve to look that way. So there's my this. You see how it's a little messed up. Make sense? It fits my sketch, but I want to play with the kerning and the spacing a little bit. This is what's so nice about having it be a vector. I select it with the small selection tool, and then I select the large selection tool, and then I can transform it. I can stretch it. I can get its placement right where I want. Because when you're sketching, even the width of your line sketching will affect it. So I think I can go bigger with these. And then how do I select this one? Small selection tool, then large selection tool. Then it's just like you're transforming it. You can stretch it. You can rotate it. You can kind of line them up a little bit better. You don't have to hit return. I always forget that because I'm so used to Photoshop. You just have to use the small selection tool and then the large selection tool. And pay attention to the kerning, the space between. This is for what's called type setting. The type has already been drawn. Now you're setting it in place. So small selection tool, large selection tool to stretch and rotate and transform. All right, now each of these can be modified. I think that T is too wide, right, at the top. So what can I do? I can simply use the small selection tool and then move these anchor points around. But I have to click off of the anchor point first and then click on exactly that one. So let's try this kind of design. Just having fun with it. We're not trying to be professional typographers. Now, what if I want all of it to be super clean? Well, check this out. Using what I know, I can now use my pen tool and set a curve like that, and then finish it off. And now I can subtract this shape, I'll make it white for the time being just to make it clear, from all of those so that I have an even curve cutting out the bottom of my type design, giving me really clean leading, the type break. So how do I do that? I use the Pathfinder. So first I have to merge all of the black type I did. So I select it all and then merge it with Pathfinder. And then I select the white and I subtract the foreground. Whoops, that should have worked. The foreground from the background. Select it all. Command. Is it not going to let me do it in full? That sucks. So I would do it from each one. But I've had this work before. So let me do it this way. Let's put this in a new layer. The white that I want to cut away. So that white path, it's there in green now. I will copy and duplicate all of the black and then paste it into this new layer that is underneath. It's always a good idea when you're doing this kind of thing to only does it for the T. All right, so let's try to merge it all again. Yeah, all it can do is make it a group. So maybe just do it one at a time. So what I'm going to want to do is make a lot of duplicates. Command C, edit, paste in place. For each of the letters, this is a little annoying. Then edit, paste in place, and then edit, paste in place. So I have 4 copies of that arc to subtract from the letters. And then I just take one at a time, and I subtract them from the letters one at a time. So I subtract it from the T. Done. I subtract it from the H. Done. I subtract it from the I. Done.